Friend, let me tell you something I've learned after 80 long years on this earth. Mornings are everything. They're like the opening scene of a play. If you fumble the lines at the start, it's hard to carry the show. And believe me, I've fumbled more than a few mornings in my younger years. There were days I'd roll out of bed, stumble straight to the kitchen, and stuff my face with whatever leftover pizza or pie was lying around from the night before. Then I'd wonder why I felt sluggish and grumpy the rest of the day. Took me decades, friend, to realize that the way you start your morning sets the rhythm for the whole song. Now, at 80, living solo in this quiet little house, I treasure my mornings more than anything. They're not rushed, they're not crowded, they're mine. The silence when I wake up is almost like a companion, like the house itself is saying, "Good morning, old man. We made it through another night together." And let me tell you, waking up at 80 feels like winning the lottery every single day. I don't take it for granted. That's why I've built these 5 routines into my mornings. They're not fancy, they don't cost a dime, but they've kept me healthier, sharper, and yes, dare I say it, happier than many people half my age. Now you might be wondering, Paul, what makes your routine so special? Isn't it just the usual stretching and coffee? Oh, no, friend, not at all. Each one of these routines has a story behind it, a reason I started it, and a way it's changed my life. So sit tight, grab yourself a cup of tea or coffee, and let me walk you through what mornings look like in the life of an 80-year-old man who refuses to let age steal his joy. The very first thing I do when I wake up might surprise you. I don't check the time, I don't reach for my glasses, and I certainly don't curse the fact that I'm still alive, though some days in my 70s I used to feel that way. Now, the first thing I do is smile. A big, goofy, probably toothy smile that nobody sees but me. Why? Because waking up at 80 is a blessing. I've lost friends who didn't make it to 60, let alone 80. When I open my eyes and realize I'm still here, I can't help but grin. Sometimes I even say out loud, "Well, would you look at that, Paul? You survived another round." It's silly, but it works. That smile sets my brain on the right path, like flipping a switch from gloomy to grateful. Now, let me be honest, I wasn't always this way. Back in my 50s, I woke up cranky more often than not. I thought mornings were a nuisance, just something to push through until real life started. But when I hit my 70s and my doctor told me stress was eating away at me, I decided to change. That's when I discovered the power of gratitude. At first, it felt ridiculous, grinning into the empty air. But after a while, it became second nature, and suddenly my mornings didn't feel so heavy. Friend, I can tell you this, gratitude is like a secret handshake with the universe. When you give it, the universe gives you more reasons to smile. Once I'm done smiling like an idiot in bed, I sit up slowly. Don't picture me springing out of bed like a gymnast. That would end with me flat on the floor and probably a trip to the ER. No, I ease myself upright, let my feet dangle for a bit, and take in the room. Then I head straight for the window. Now here comes my second ritual, breathing. Deep, conscious breathing. I open that window wide, stick my head out, and draw in the morning air like it's the first breath I've ever taken. Doesn't matter if it's chilly, doesn't matter if it smells faintly of my neighbor's cooking from the night before, I take it in. 10 big, slow breaths, in through the nose, out through the mouth. You'd be surprised how much better your whole body feels after just 2 minutes of good breathing. I remember the first time I tried it. I was about 72, and I'd been reading about how oxygen helps the brain wake up. I thought, why not? Can't hurt. So I gave it a try. Friend, I'll never forget that morning. After 10 breaths, I felt sharper, lighter, like a fog had lifted off my mind. Since then, I've done it every day. My grandson caught me once and asked me if I was practicing to become a dragon with all that huffing and puffing. I told him, "Son, this is how dragons keep their fire alive." He laughed, but I could tell he understood. After breathing, I move into the third routine, and this one's the real game changer: moving my old body. Now, don't go thinking I'm running marathons or lifting weights. At 80, I know my limits, but I also know this: if you don't move it, you lose it. So I do my 20 minutes of what I call old man yoga. It's a mix of stretches, light exercises, and a little bit of dancing if the mood hits me. Sometimes I roll my shoulders, sometimes I bend as far as my knees will allow, and sometimes, when nobody's watching, I sway to the music like I'm back in the dance halls of my youth. It ain't pretty, but it feels good. Let me tell you about one morning when I skipped it. I woke up late, decided to head straight to breakfast, and thought, I'll exercise later. Well, later never came. By noon, my back was stiff, my knees felt like they had rusted overnight, and I was cranky as a bear. That day taught me a lesson: move first. Everything else can wait. Since then, no matter what, I do my stretches. Even on days when my body protests, I give it at least 10 minutes. And you know what? I always feel better afterward. Moving in the morning is like giving your body a polite nudge, saying, "Come on, we've got another day to live." Now, after I've worked up a little sweat and reminded myself I can still touch my toes on a good day, I sit down for what I call my soul breakfast. This is my fourth routine, and it might be the most important one. Before I eat anything, I grab my notebook. Nothing fancy, just a little journal I keep by the table. I write 3 things I'm grateful for, 1 thing I want to get done that day, and 1 kind thing about myself. That last part is crucial. Too often we talk to ourselves like we're our own worst enemy. At 80, I've decided I'd rather be my own cheerleader. So I write things like, "Paul, you've made it to 80, you must be doing something right." Or, "Paul, you're still handsome in your own rugged way." Makes me chuckle, and that laughter is a vitamin in itself. Once my soul is fed, then I eat. And friend, let me tell you, breakfast is sacred around here. No sugary cereals, no greasy bacon piles, not anymore. My breakfast is simple but powerful. Oatmeal with berries, a handful of nuts, and my beloved black coffee. The oats keep my energy steady, the berries give me antioxidants, and the coffee, well, the coffee keeps me from biting anyone's head off before 9 a.m. I used to drown my coffee in cream and sugar, but I cut that out years ago. Sugar's a thief, stealing your energy and your health. Now it's just me and the coffee, strong and honest, like an old friend. And then, finally, comes my 5th and maybe strangest routine: talking to myself in the mirror. Yes, you heard me right. After brushing my teeth, I look myself straight in the eyes and say, "You got this." Sometimes I wink, sometimes I pull a silly face, sometimes I just smile. But always I acknowledge myself. Because here's the truth, friend. When you get older, you start to disappear a little. People look past you, treat you like part of the furniture. But I refuse to vanish. So I stand there, wrinkles and all, and remind myself that I'm still here, still valuable, still Paul. Now, these 5 routines might sound simple, but don't underestimate them. They've changed my life. They've given the energy, clarity, and joy in ways I never expected. And the funny thing, younger folks often ask me what my secret is. I laugh and say, "It's just mornings done right." They look at me like I'm holding out on some big magic formula, but it's really that simple. And friend, let me pause right here and ask you something. What's your morning routine like? Do you spring out of bed ready to tackle the day, or do you drag yourself to the coffee maker like a zombie? Because I promise you, if you try even one of these little rituals, you'll feel the difference. And if you try all 5, well, you might just start to feel younger than me. Before I go on, let me also say this. If you're enjoying these little slices of my life, do me a favor. Like this story, leave me a comment about which part speaks to you most, and subscribe so you don't miss the next time I sit down to share with you. It means the world to me knowing my words find a home in your heart. And besides, at 80, I've got plenty of stories left to tell, and I'd hate for you to miss them. Now, where was I? Yes, the routines are one thing, but the reasons behind them, that's where the real magic lies. Each of these habits didn't just happen by chance. They came from moments of struggle, from lessons I learned the hard way, from times when life knocked me down and I had to figure out how to get back up. Let me tell you a few of those stories, because I think they'll show you why these routines matter so much. You see, friend, routines don't come out of nowhere. They're born out of necessity, sometimes even desperation. Take my smiling ritual, for instance. That one started after I lost my best friend, Harold. We were thick as thieves for nearly 60 years, and when he passed, mornings felt heavier than lead. I'd wake up and feel nothing but emptiness, like I was staring at a world that had lost its color. For weeks, I dragged myself out of bed with no joy, no spark. Then one morning, I caught my reflection in the dark window before sunrise. I looked like a ghost of myself. Right then and there, I decided I'd smile no matter how much it hurt. Just a silly grin, nothing more. Day by day, that grin became real. It was my way of telling the world I'm still alive and I'm not done yet. That's how my first routine was born. The breathing? That came after a health scare. I was about 75 when I had my first real scare with my heart. Nothing fatal, thank heavens, but enough to put the fear of God into me. The doctor told me my lungs weren't working as efficiently as they should, and that I wasn't giving my body the oxygen it needed. Can you imagine, at 75, being told I wasn't even breathing right? I chuckled at first, but then I realized he was dead serious. So I went home, looked up breathing techniques, and started practicing every morning. At first, I thought it was nonsense, but within weeks, I noticed I wasn't getting as winded when I climbed the stairs. I could walk longer without needing a break. My head felt clearer. That simple act of standing at my window and taking in 10 deep breaths became my lifeline. And now, it's as much a part of me as brushing my teeth. The movement, my old man yoga, that's rooted in something far more embarrassing. One afternoon, not too long after my 76th birthday, I bent down to pick up a penny on the sidewalk. Just a penny. And you know what happened? I couldn't get back up. I stood there hunched over like a broken lamppost, praying nobody was watching. Took me a full minute to straighten up, and even then I waddled like a penguin for the rest of the day. That's when it hit me. If I don't keep these joints moving, one day I'll get stuck and never unstuck. So I started small. A few stretches here, a little side-to-side shuffle there. Over time, I built it into a habit. And now, I can bend down and pick up a coin like it's nothing. I still grunt when I do it, but at least I don't need a rescue team. Now, the notebook routine, that's my soul saver. Back in my late 60s, when I first started living alone, the silence of the mornings was deafening. The kids were grown and gone, my wife had passed years earlier, and there I was, staring into space with nothing but my thoughts for company. And friend, let me tell you, lonely thoughts can be dangerous. They sneak in, whispering things like, "What's the point?" That scared me. So one day, I picked up a notebook and started scribbling down things I was grateful for. At first, it felt forced, but slowly, it became the anchor that kept me from drifting into sadness. Writing down one kind thing about myself was the hardest part, because I was always my own worst critic. But now it's my favorite. Some mornings I even make myself laugh with the silly compliments I write. That little notebook has more power than any medicine. And then there's the mirror talk. Friend, I'll be honest, I used to hate mirrors. They reminded me of the years slipping away, of the hair that had gone gray and then gone missing altogether, of the lines etched deep into my skin. I avoided mirrors like the plague. But one morning, I caught myself in the bathroom mirror staring with that familiar critical glare, and I thought, why am I treating myself like an enemy? That's when I leaned in and said, "You got this." It was awkward at first, almost laughable, but over time, those 3 words became my shield. When I say them, I'm not just talking to the man in the mirror. I'm talking to the boy I once was, the young man who thought he'd conquer the world, the middle-aged man who stumbled and fell, and the old man who still wakes up ready to try again. All of them, all the versions of me, they need to hear it, and I give it to them. Now don't get me wrong, friend, these routines don't mean I live in some perfect bubble where nothing ever goes wrong. No, life still throws curveballs. My joints ache, my memory plays tricks, and sometimes I feel the weight of loneliness pressing down. But these 5 routines, they're my armor. They give me the strength to face whatever the day brings, and more importantly, they give me joy. At 80, joy is the most precious currency there is. Let me tell you about a morning not too long ago. I was sitting at my kitchen table, finishing my oatmeal and jotting down my gratitude list. Suddenly, I felt this wave of peace wash over me. It was quiet outside, just the soft hum of the fridge and the chirping of the birds. I realized that for the first time in years, I wasn't wishing for anything more. I wasn't wishing I was younger or richer or living with someone. I was just content. And I thought to myself, Paul, this is it. This is the secret to being healthier than people half your age. It's not about muscles or medicine. It's about mornings filled with meaning. And you know, friend, don't you think it's funny? Younger people are always chasing big solutions. Fancy diets, expensive gym memberships, miracle pills. But the truth is, health is built in the little things. Smiling at sunrise, breathing in fresh air, moving your body with love, not punishment, feeding your soul before your stomach, looking yourself in the eye and choosing kindness. That's it. That's the whole recipe. Now let me share that bonus I promised. Every Saturday morning, I sing. And I don't mean a polite hum. I mean full-on, top-of-my-lungs singing. Sometimes it's an old gospel hymn. Sometimes it's a rock and roll number that takes me back to my wild days. And sometimes it's just silly songs I make up on the spot. My voice cracks, my neighbors probably roll their eyes, but I don't care. Singing fills me up with life in a way nothing else does. It's like shaking off the dust of the week and stepping into the weekend with joy. One Saturday, my granddaughter recorded me without me knowing and posted it online. Next thing I knew, I was a minor sensation among her friends. They called me the singing grandpa. I didn't mind. It made them laugh, and laughter is half the medicine in this world. So yes, these are my mornings. Simple, steady, sacred. And when people ask me why I look so healthy at 80, why my step still has a little spring and my eyes still twinkle, I tell them it's the mornings. Start the day with care, and the rest takes care of itself. But before I wrap this up, I want to ask you something, friend. Tomorrow morning, when you open your eyes, what will you do? Will you groan and grumble, or will you smile? Will you rush through the motions, or will you take a deep breath and savor the air? Will you punish your body, or will you move it gently, like you're thanking it for carrying you this far? Will you reach for your phone, or will you reach for your soul with a notebook and pen? And when you stand in front of that mirror, will you criticize, or will you say, "You got this"? The choice is yours, every morning, every day. And if my words today mean something to you, do me a kindness. Hit that like button, Drop me a comment about which of these routines you'll try first and subscribe so you can keep walking this journey with me. Because as long as I've got breath in my lungs and stories in my heart, I'll keep sharing them with you. Not because I think I'm special, but because I know life is sweeter when we share it. At 80, living solo, I could easily sink into loneliness or self-pity, but I don't, because each morning I choose joy. Each morning I build my health with little bricks of gratitude, breathing, movement, reflection, and kindness. And you know what? That's the kind of wealth no one can take away. So friend, promise me this. Tomorrow morning, just try one. Just one. Smile when you wake up, or take 10 deep breaths, or write a single kind word about yourself. Just one small step. And then the next day, add another. Before you know it, you'll be feeling younger, lighter, brighter. And when you do, I hope you'll think of me, this old man at 80, still singing off key, still dancing awkwardly in his kitchen, still choosing to live fully every morning. And maybe, just maybe, you'll join me in making mornings the best part of the day.